You're watching Channel 4. Now, today's Sign On.
Hello and welcome to Sign On at Leisure. In today's programme, the Sign On team visits Northern Ireland with some foreign deaf youth delegates. And later, we'll be telling you how the deaf driving team got on with their trip through Europe in the Arctic Auto Challenge. Also in the programme, we'll be bringing you more theatre reviews. We'll be giving you the result of last month's competition and a new competition for next month. And Deaf Owl, along with Philip Green, have a sensitive poem to make you think. We recently discovered that the Northern Ireland Deaf Youth Association were holding an International Study Week, so we went to see what was going on. The Northern Ireland Deaf Youth Association was established 5 years ago through concern at the lack of youth activity and access to information. This year they've secured funding to organise a European conference on aspects of youth work and training, attended by 13 delegates from 11 countries. It's being held here in Belfast, Northern Ireland, a place more widely known for its political conflicts and troubles, but the deaf delegates are all getting on fine.
Now, I could talk about how good the EEC is, but we've all had different information about the EEC. That it's good, that it's bad, that it's all about to collapse. What's important in my talk is that you learn why the problems are there. All right? In 1986, Portugal and, Spain joined the EEC, which brought the total to 12 countries. And these 12 stars represent the member states of the EEC. Over the past 5 years, I've travelled to Europe and visited many countries there. And on those travels, I'd noticed what they'd got, and Northern Ireland didn't have anything in comparison. So I wanted to set about organising a short study visit here as recognition of forged links.
Back in Finland, I received a letter from Malachy McBurney, and I thought, where is this conference? Then I saw it was Northern Ireland. I thought of bombs and terrorism, and I wasn't too sure. It was difficult. So, at my Deaf Youth Committee, we discussed who would go to this conference. And it turned out to be me, so I thought about it and accepted. But when I was packing my case and flying over here, my heart was pounding. I kept thinking Northern Ireland, Belfast. But now I'm here, there's no problem. The landscape's just like Finland. Anyway, I'm learning a lot at the conference, and I think I'm going to have bags full of papers to take home to Finland. The group is all young people, no older people. Young people are important. The future of European unity is in their hands. The information we get this week will contribute to that future.
It's not the same as the Northern Ireland one. It's different. They cover the north, we cover the south. So let me tell you about the association. Its aim is to be the voice of young deaf people, in the deaf world and in the wider hearing world.
deaf people who have an identity, who have sign language, who have information about deafness and are aware. And, on the other hand, those who have no identity, who are deaf but have had no information. They might be oral, have some manual communication but use English, pidgin signing. These are two distinct groups. First of all, the CDA recognised that young deaf people were not attending the clubs. Numbers were dwindling. This caused us some concern, so we contacted the LSS.
Then, when they finish that, right, they can then learn how to work with deaf and hearing people confidently. So I meet you and I know how to work with you through team building. And that's an important skill.
The speakers are good. The CDA, the woman from one area of England, told us that there were 700 deaf people in their region who had no contact with each other. That was shocking. And the FYD, Friends for the Young Deaf? Well, I've been brought up in a deaf family and I think of deaf people first, but they were talking about integration with hearing people. That was provocative. So those two were memorable, the others were okay. The conference delegates are all getting to know each other better and meeting other deaf people through organised games and activities like these. Northern Ireland has some beautiful scenery. We're here in North Antrim at the famous Giant's Causeway. 55 million years ago, volcanic activity created these bizarre rock formations. Over the 10 days of the conference, these young people have been taking in information, discussing ideas, sharing experiences, forming friendships, debating and developing youth policies. When they each return to their home countries, they'll still be supporting each other, fighting for better opportunities. So when that's finished, workshops to air our views and then present our conclusions. So no questions, but a summing up, right?
From here, now, I'm taking in so much information. And when I fly home to Budapest, I'm going to start fighting. We're not going to be submissive any longer. We're going to fight, campaign. And if they doubt us, we'll just mount a united campaign until we get what we want.
When I first arrived, there were people here from so many different countries, all chatting Spanish, Italian, and they all signed differently. I felt a bit shy at first, till I started meeting people. Then I discovered that the NIDYA had only been established for 5 years, that's all. We've only been going for 2 months, so we're doing okay. They've done very well, though, and we'll be trying to achieve that kind of progress. I've learnt a lot. There have been a lot of speakers, and there are some things I'd like to take from them. I feel I know a bit more now, and when I go back to Denmark, I can tell them what I know.
When I go back to Italy, I want to set up a committee, a youth committee. At the moment, we don't have one. That's what I want to set up, a president, a secretary, and all of that. That's what I want for the future, a proper constitution. I'm aiming for that. Really, the contacts, the information, and the experience will be so important and so beneficial to the youth in Europe. We planned and worked really hard for this, and it's really been a dream come true. Now what we need to do is roll up our sleeves and get together to plan a workshop and, in hopefully 2 years' time, plan a youth training or some kind of visit or exchange to maintain those links, right?
The NIDYA are celebrating breaking free, 5 years of running independently without the support and supervision of older people. By happy coincidence, the international delegates are here on their study visit, so they've been invited to join in the celebrations at the dinner and dance. As you might expect, they partied late into the night. It's good to see European cooperation and friendship flourish, and we wish the NIDYA the best for their future. Join us again in a few minutes for more Sign On at Leisure. Welcome back. Do you remember our interview with Brenda Richards and Veronica Lewis before they set off on the Arctic Auto Challenge? Well, we're pleased to tell you that they managed to successfully complete the trip, driving an incredible 5,250 miles through 7 countries. They thoroughly enjoyed the whole thing and came a creditable 44th out of 58 competing teams. They drove through terrible snowstorms on roads made treacherous by black ice in temperatures of -29 degrees, and they even managed to stop and help another team who'd broken down before completing the course. What will they do next year? You never know, they might beat Nigel Mansell at his own game. Are you interested in entering a driving competition next year? We know that some people are trying to organise an event. We'll let you know when we have more details. Now for theatre. You may remember that last month we included some comments from deaf people who reviewed various plays for us. One of our reviewers sent us these comments on the production of Animal Farm at the Gulbenkian Theatre in Newcastle. They were shocked to find there were only 2 deaf people there, and they were disappointed that no synopsis was provided. The signer was poorly lit, and since the play contained a lot of dialogue and numerous characters, they had difficulty in distinguishing from the signer who was supposed to be speaking and when. Sign On discovered that the signer was not an interpreter registered with either CAP or SASLI, and approached the theatre about this and the review. They thanked us for the valuable feedback and said they weren't aware of a register of interpreters. They'll check this out and improve their standards. Interesting. Our next reviewer is Clark Denmark. We asked Clark to attend a performance in Bristol of the musical Cats, partly because we had received some adverse comments about the quality of interpretation provided. There were 50 deaf people in the audience, an impressive number, but unfortunately the storyline was hard to follow because a lot of it was based on the songs. The signer, Paul Whitaker, didn't make it any easier, with an interpretation that was completely incomprehensible. Most of the deaf audience felt the same, angry. A dire evening was only saved by the imaginative use of props and lighting, colourful costumes, and the expressiveness of some of the cats. The sign-on team asked Paul, who is not a registered interpreter, for his response to this and other criticisms we received about the quality of his signing. He said he felt he didn't have to defend himself and that many deaf people compliment him and return to see him again. As for those that couldn't follow his signing, he said that they didn't have the guts to criticise him to his face, and he felt they needed educating in theatre appreciation. He said that neither himself nor the theatre group Cameron Mackintosh Limited had received any written criticism, although they had had written compliments. Well, the letters we received are in the post. It's obvious that this month's reviews comment little on the quality of performance and selection of play for signed interpretation. We have to look carefully at how productions are serviced for a deaf audience, because that service directly affects the quality of enjoyment the audience get. Is it fair to be charged for a service which isn't providing enough information or is incomprehensible? Surely it's the responsibility of both theatre management and interpreters to be aware and to educate. If you feel you're not getting value, make sure you let the theatre know and tell us. We all need to make sure standards improve. That's right. Unfortunately, there is no deaf theatre this month. Please watch the diary for interpreted theatre in your area. I hope you get some satisfaction. Christmas is on its way, and if you're looking to buy a video, Deaf Owl have made one of their own deaf humour show. Here's a short clip. Something new there. It should cost about £15, but more information can be found in the usual deaf magazines. Now the result of last month's competition, when we asked you to name the 4 strands of the Sign-On programme. The answer was, of course, Newswatch, Deaf World, Your Views and At Leisure. And the winner is Rachel Hayes. Well done. Your NCI video decoder's in the post. Now, this month's competition question. Where was the recent Festival of Deaf Culture held? I'll give you that again. Where was the recent Festival of Deaf Culture held? If you know, write it on a postcard and send it before December the 8th with the answer and your name and address on one side to Sign-On, Tyne Tees Television, City Road, Newcastle upon Tyne, NE1 2AL. If you saw last week's programme on AIDS in the deaf community, you'll remember how tragic an illness it is and how it can affect all our lives. As a reminder of World AIDS Day on December the 1st, Deaf Owl, in collaboration with Philip Green, have produced this poem.
The white sheet, the shining floor, day after day, night after night, lying here, waiting for the pain to come, for the pain to go. The doctor comes, pretends to see, talks and talks with his glasses, without his pride. The nurse, with her warm smile, finds it hard to communicate. I can't trust them, I can't understand. And the KS blotches my skin, and the CMV blurs my vision, and the PCP blocks my breathing. So many things I'm suffering, waiting for the end. Walking in the street, people turn to stare. They know, they don't know. My fear, my patience. Their eyes turn on me. They know, they don't know. My fear, my patience. Their eyes turning on me. A suspicious glance, a grin. Has he got it or not? Feeling trapped, feeling frightened, feeling hurt, crying. And the KS blotches my skin, and the CMV blurs my vision, and the PCP blocks my breathing. So many things I'm suffering, waiting for the end. In the bed, sweating, growing thinner and thinner. The liquid that's fed to my veins gnaws at my hollow innards, then releases my mind. My heart beats slower, confusion, paranoia. I suppress the scream and cry. I'm ready to die. No pain, no fear, no tears, no anger, just flying through stars, feeling free, feeling happy. And the KS blotches my skin, and the CMV blurs my vision, and the PCP blocks my breathing. So many things I'm suffering, waiting for the end. No regrets.
A very powerful poem there, which concludes the last Sign On at Leisure of the year. Next week is Newswatch, when Tessa Padden and Paul Redfern bring you the latest. Join them next Saturday. Bye. Bye.